It's your girl, Dana Lorraine. Forewarning, this episode is not for anybody that's sensitive to the N-word. By the N-word, I mean nigga. This episode is not to bash my home city of Chicago or any other area that is plagued by violence. This video is to be informative and to be of love, light, and service. I'll start with a small story. My really close friend of a lot of years that still resides in my hometown of Chicago called me today. And I was battling with the topic of what I was going to speak about. When he called me, he said, "Hey, how are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm good." And, we're catching up. And he had a really eventful weekend where he decided to take on a new hobby, which is snowboarding. Kudos to him. But as soon as I asked him how the weekend went, because it was his first time technically trying out his snowboard, he interrupted our conversation to let me know that one of his best friends, I wouldn't say best friend, but close friends out in Chicago, was visiting. And when he was visiting, he went to a bar, got into an altercation, and was shot to death. Now, this came out of left field. It came out of nowhere. We were talking about something completely different. So when he said it, it kind of took me back. For those of you that don't know, I do have this very empathetic energy towards things that I hear. It immediately affected me because although I wasn't close with the young man that was shot, I have heard of him in passing through other associates. So, I immediately consoled my friend and let him know how I felt so bad about his loss. And I genuinely meant that because now that I'm in my 30s, there has been instances I found myself in where the individuals that I grew up with, whether they're close to me or whether they're not, have lost their lives, unfortunately. When he told me that, it struck me because it's always shocking to hear someone so young passing away from something so unfortunate and so unnecessary as being shot in an altercation at a bar. But it did also make me think about how I wasn't going to talk about the topic that I'm about to talk to you about now. One of my favorite ancestors in the world, Neely Fuller Jr.
Because that's not going to work under the system of racism. You can't unite with anybody.
I know a lot of you may have never heard of him, but he is a remarkable individual that devoted his entire life and purpose to the enlightenment of the melanated people of the world, to try to have them understand that white supremacy, and whether you believe in that or not, or whether you've heard of it or not, is in existence. And it somewhat takes a part in all of our lives because until it's dismantled, it will continue to bring injustice amongst the people of this planet. Now, Neely Fuller Jr.'s work, to me, is controversial for a lot of reasons. He spoke from a very eloquently logical place of if you just put A plus B together.
Oh, good day, family.
He wrote a book called The Compensatory Code for Victims of White Supremacy.
This is good, too, about Neely Fuller Jr.
Get over here to record, so I forgot it. Neely Fuller Jr. just passed away recently at the age of 95. He had a live show that he broadcasted through a podcast, and he had a co-host called Dr. Bobby Jr. They got on the air every week, and they spoke and they took calls from individuals. People will call into his show and ask him real life advice.
I'm gonna get set up, and that way I'll be able to do it like I used to. But it's good to see y'all. We're gonna pretty much jump right into reading this stuff. But it's good to see y'all. I hope everyone had a wonderful and safe day today. Keep your eyes on your babies. What they call it, a situational awareness. Because there's so much going on out there and stuff. You don't know what. It's best to stay in the house if you ain't got to go outside. Black Americans, best to just stay in the house if you ain't got to go outside. Don't be going out hanging out and stuff. Let your teenagers know. Now it's not the time to be frolicking and out here just hanging out. It's not the time for that. Yeah, it's not. Man, they done got us in a whole bunch of mess. The whole world fucked up. They done did quite a few numbers to have all of this chaos going on. Sometimes it make me wonder, ignorance is blissful. Think about all the people that have no idea what's really going on out here. And then my cat got into my plants. Yeah, that's why he on the porch right now. But I went and bought some more today. I went and bought me some more soil and stuff, So go ahead and get started with your garden. Anyway. But yeah, we in a mess. America is in a mess. Babylon finna fall. Babylon finna fall, yeah. During our lifetime. Now. It's happening now. Yeah. Ooh, do I want to let his tail? I guess I will let him in. I'm gonna be up for a while, but before I come on in here. All right, y'all. Apologize for that and stuff. Yeah, he don't punish me because he got in my plants and stuff. So yeah, if he be acting up and stuff, it's all right. I'll put him back outside if need be. Sure will. But it's good to see y'all. And yeah, let's jump right into the reading and stuff because I want to get started redoing my plants again and get my garden started. At least be able to eat us some stir fry. If that's all we gonna have, stir fry and water, then stir fry and water it is. At least we won't be going through not having food. And it's gonna be hard enough having to ration it off and stuff. But we could do that. Where are the let me get the fundamentals out the way and stuff. And y'all know we looking through a spiritual lens of loyalty, resilience, and education. I'm trying not to talk too much and stuff. All the commentary and stuff. I think it come when I give this speech right here, the mission and stuff of the, all of the agendas and stuff and all of that right there. I'm trying to really compact this and stuff. But yeah, we need to know that we're looking through a spiritual lens of loyalty, resilience, and education. And we need to know we're doing this because we want to be part of the solution to heal our people. That's why we're here, to heal Black America. We need healing. We're so traumatized. We need healing. That's why we're here. That's why I'm here. I hope that's why you're here. If it ain't, then you probably want to leave right now. And yeah, that's basically it. I am Face the Nation. We're on Bolden Unchained. Yeah. The fundamentals is the copyright disclaimer. Now I have to get that right and get that out the way because it ain't mine. I just thank y'all for showing me that you have to do it. Copyright disclaimer under 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news report, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair uses are use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. So we can do this. Well, we got the opportunity and stuff. Yeah, go ahead and get your channel and stuff too. Yeah. And now, y'all, we've started a new book. Remember, we did read They Were Her Property. We finished that like maybe 2 books ago. They Were Her Property. And now we're reading this book that I just saw yesterday. And it's called Property. And it's of a more one family rather than this one right here was about multiple. It's about the in general of women, white women owning slaves and stuff. And honey, they got slaves when they were just babies. This book told everything right here. White women got at least 97% of all the profit, all the benefit from slavery. We thought it was the white man that got the most benefit out of slavery. It was the white woman. She got the slaves. They were hers. She even had a law that her slaves was hers and only hers. He couldn't sell them. Creditors couldn't come and get them. They was hers. So yeah, we had to read this right here too. And our understanding what's the problem, why we can't get together, why we can't come together. Why must we be the ones ass out in the new world order coming in? So we need to find out what's wrong with us. That's what I want to know. What is wrong with my people? And that's why I'm here, y'all. And it looks to me like it's white folks. It's white America have traumatized us so much. We can't see. We can't think. We done lost, connection with history, with facts. Dr. Ray Hagan said, he's a psychologist. He said we done lost connection with everything, y'all, because of religion. White folks done did a number on us. Yep. And I don't mean to be mean and rude and stuff about religion. I'm not, for real. I believed in it too. Shoot, I believed in it. I wasn't religious like some of us are, but I believed in it. And I knew I was going to do right and go to heaven. Yep, I didn't have to go to church all them days and hours and Saturday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then you got to be there Sunday. And you don't have to do that and stuff to believe. So I didn't do all of that. But I still was like, I'm going to heaven. But that was before I got new information. Now I got new information, things done changed. And I'm just letting my people know. I'm just letting us know. Things have changed. The same way we see this new world order being built up. I know, right? On the other side, parallel to that, is us waking up. I don't know how it come to be like that. It just is. It's time. And as we see this new world order coming up, being built up and stuff, we waking up. Yeah. Say it's right on time if you want to. I don't know. It's just happening. And then the earth is waking up. Animals are waking up. Everybody waking up. Yeah. And they waking up too. Them people. They waking up too, y'all. Don't think they not. Don't you fool yourself that they not waking up too. That rage is not waking up inside of them. This book said that when our ancestors was free, these white women about lost their mind because they didn't have their slaves no more. And they didn't know what to do and stuff. I think what held it together, what gave them the I don't know, the right, just straighten up. It's gonna be all right. It was the fact that we were close by. We were still close by with them. We weren't just cut off from them and stuff. So I think that right there might have helped them. I don't know. I didn't know about all of this. I didn't know about none of this. These are new learnings for me. I'm just trying to figure it out and stuff because it's true. If it wasn't true, I'd probably be, would ponder it. But these things are true. They happen. It's fact. So, I give it deep thought on it and stuff when I be trying to figure out what the hell was this. I don't know. But Dr. Ray Hagan, y'all, I don't be just saying, being rude and saying that we ignorant and stuff. He coined it. He coined self-hatred as dedicated ignorance. Dedicated ignorance. And he said, we must start the process of undoing or reversing the ideals and concepts that have been programmed into the minds of our people by the religious statements, church doctrines that have caused them to adopt a belief system that has resulted in their loss of contact with what's factual, historical, and spiritual. Yep. He said with what is real, factual, historical, and spiritual. You done lost a lot. We done lost a lot. We dropped the ball and, Let me get some shout outs real fast because, I want to cover that up and stuff. Because as long as I get started. Oh, how you doing? A new El Ray. It's so good to see you. Now, that seemed like a new name and stuff, but it's good to see you. Welcome for as long as you're here and stuff. And, we just going to read tonight, learn. We're going to read tonight. We're going to learn. We're going to, hey, how you doing? Kelvin, it's good to see y'all. Yeah, and just talk about our ancestors. Think about our ancestors. Try to come up with some solutions for us in these unprecedented times. Yeah, it's unprecedented times. And everybody, got something to say. But if it ain't about helping us and giving us some solutions too, then don't nobody need to say nothing. Don't nobody need to say nothing. Don't forget us down here because we ain't got the means, and the measures like other groups of people and stuff do. Even some of our people gonna be all right. But us, we need some extreme measures so we'll be able to take care of us and sustain us. However it's finna look for the next 4 years. Because this 100 days right here done about took off your hat, your earrings, your gloves. It's about stripping you down. There ain't gonna be nothing left, during this next 4 years. So yeah, we need some extreme solutions for us. And right now, yeah, one of them that's really extreme is start your garden. Tell my sisters, let's go get some seeds, get some soil, get us some seeds, some soil, some potting plants, get the gloves, some plant food, and let her know, yeah, you can use this spot right here. If she be like, I want to have a trellis for my tomatoes, because tomatoes got to climb the back. Build her a trellis, but help her to get what she need so her and them babies will be able to eat at least with what's finna go down and stuff, because I don't know. I know something else. So, I just want to say that for us, because everybody would sacrifice us, but it ain't finna happen and stuff. So it ain't finna happen. We ain't finna wait on nobody to say, yeah, we got y'all, Black America. We got y'all. Come to us. Y'all can come with us in our bunker and stuff. Because they ain't gonna do nothing but get in there and eat you. Misuse you, beat you. Yeah, I don't know. We been ate. We been ate. Yeah, and right now and stuff, we just can't trust nobody. We barely can trust ourselves. We got to use discernment all around. We do. And that's because we done lost so much contact. We done forgave and forgave and forgave. We forgot to forgive us. We don't even know why we don't get along and stuff. We don't even know why we don't get along. All we know is what you looking at, motherfucker. Oh, bitch, stop looking at me and stuff. We don't even know why we like this. Yep, that's why we can't get along. And one more person, I ain't heard nobody asking no more why we don't get along stuff. Because mostly everybody that I be listening to and stuff, they know why we not getting along and stuff. But we all should know what's wrong with us is white America. They done hurt us and traumatized us so bad all this time. We ain't had no peace. We had no peace of mind. We ain't had no rest, no recuperation, no recovery, no remorse. They ain't gave us nothing. Ain't let us get nothing. That's our problem. Them, they are a problem, y'all. I promise you, I'm not just saying this about white America. I want to know what's wrong with my people here. If it was something else, I would tell y'all. Yeah, it's something else that's wrong with us and stuff, but it ain't. Nope. And to tell y'all the truth, the religious statements and church doctrines, they all talking about white people. This is not us. We no good. We ain't no good. This is in your Bible. This is y'all religious statements and church doctrines. I don't go to church no more. I do not go to church no more. I'm not finna set up in there. I'm not finna give no money and stuff. Nope. If I hold up $20, I'm finna ask them, can you tell us who all is in heaven? How do my ancestors get justice in heaven with the same people that tortured them? How did Willie Brown? How he getting justice up there with these same men? Because they all dead now. I mean, assuming that these men asked for forgiveness. You got to ask for forgiveness to get it. Everybody know that. But other than that, nope, I'm not finna set up in church no more. Y'all better start asking some questions. We need to be concerned about our life and our afterlife. See, they done told us everything about heaven, and that's it. And we done embraced it. And that's all we think about and focus on is heaven, not that lake of fire. But it's something else to heaven itself. These books, history is telling us this. And it's because the answer is right there in y'all Bible. The key, the golden key. I believe it's right there in your Bible. Yep. We ain't no good. Who ain't no good? Who ain't no good? We under a curse. That's what it said. We under a curse. Black people. I don't hear us saying this stuff. Yeah, we under a curse because we got away from God. All this and that. We ain't under no curse. We under white America. White America is the curse. If it is a curse. Can't nobody tell me nothing. It's right here in the books. Have you read it? Have y'all literally read these books? These are the true Bibles that Black America need to be reading. This is Jesus right here. Willie Brown. We just finished reading 100 Years of Lynchings. I'm not lying to us. Our people ain't out here telling us these things for nothing. That's Black Jesus right there. We just finished reading 100 Years of Lynching. Thousands of them. So, for us to be still following and clamoring and all into this Bible right here, fainting and falling out, you need to do better for yourself, Black people. How dare you in 2025 and everybody else giving up your Bible. Yes, honey, everybody giving up your Bible. When I be seeing these books, when I be out and stuff, honey, be so many Bibles in them and stuff. I was like, when I got to the front, I had like 4 different Bibles. But then I was like, yeah, ain't no telling when we going to get around to reading that. We going to read it, though. We going to read them contradictions. All the other shit y'all done memorized and stuff. Oh, I do apologize for calling it that. But it ain't, it ain't that for us. It might, the credit that we give to the Bible and stuff and all the praise and stuff, it's good. You keep doing it if you want to. But give some of that to our ancestors. Because that's who come through for us. Our ancestors. They always come through for us. And what we do, thank you, Lord Jesus. You didn't come when I called you, but you came right on time. Ain't said nothing to your ancestors, your big mama, your great-great-grandmama. Been looking out for you, watching over you, never leave you. And you ain't said nothing. No, thank you. I miss you. I wish I knew you. Nothing. Black America. And all of this awakening is happening for a reason. I'm going to tell you what you need to know. Now, I'm going to let you know what you need to know about our ancestors because that's what we missing. That's all we missing. And we all they need. They was taken from here without even finishing their purpose in life. And then we sit there and dare to not remember them. Not praise them, give them credit, to not honor them every day, every year, every month, every holiday, every birthday, ours and theirs. We don't even know some of these, our ancestors, we got the same birthdays then. We don't even know. It's so much we don't know. And they stripping it away so much. Just like that. You got to get up and start telling it too. We got to keep us alive. Or these people going to try to wipe us out. We're going to fuck around being 50 goddamn years. Black people, it was really Black people because folks going to get to talking. Yeah, folks going to get to talking and stuff because somebody going to want to be able to claim all of this magnificence right here that we got. And yeah, it's gonna boil over and stuff. Then they go, well, you ain't the real Black people anyway. That's how it's gonna happen. But see, society gonna be so dumbed down by then. They gonna, oh, you mean it really was Black people? It's gonna be no got away. Then they gonna be like, yeah, go look in them smart cities over there. Go over yonder and look in them smart cities. There gonna be a couple of thousands of Black people. Yeah, so you better wake up. I don't know how it's gonna fall apart. But Babylon gonna fall. It's so much going on and stuff. We just got to start critiquing these things. I ain't never thought like this. Hell, I didn't know none of this existed. Shit, I'm about like, yeah. This ain't talking nothing about us. This ain't us. This ain't me. This ain't my babies. We are sinners. We some sinners. Who? Born sinners. Who born sinners? Black babies ain't born no sinners. Black babies are born right there in the manifestation of the universe. The universe is right there, the Black woman's womb. That's the universe, y'all. The ethers manifested as the Black woman and the Black man. Yep. The ethers, the cosmos. It wanted to experience life. It wanted to experience humanity. So it manifested itself as the black woman and the black man. Yeah. You can believe that Adam and Eve bullshit. You might as well think about something else at this time. You see so much going on. Ain't you ready, Black America, for some new thoughts? Ain't you ready for some new options? Because I'm like, damn, this same old bullshit. And now you finna be in a futuristic world too. Create something for yourself. That's all I'm saying and stuff. But yeah, this right here, honey, our hearts are wicked. Whose hearts are wicked? Because that don't sound like my people. No, Y'all, all of this right here has blinded us. Dr. Ray Hagins, he's a doctor. He's a psychologist. I wrote this down. What he said. It took me like 13 years to come back to it, to resonate with it and stuff, but I still had it. Yep. And when I found it and stuff, I just started writing everything down and stuff because I already had it. And I was like, yeah, well, it took so long. But, thank the ancestors. But yeah, y'all, all of this right here, this wasn't nothing but a setup on y'all. Me too. And I went along with it and stuff. I believed. I was just like, shit, hell, I know one thing, shit, I ain't going to hell. That's all we want, just to not go to hell. Can we just go to heaven? But all of this right here, heaven ain't even what we think it is. It's what they told us it was. Your ass didn't come up with heaven. And your big mama and them didn't either. White folks came up with heaven. What heaven gonna be like? Shit, your ass would put a back door on heaven. You know it. Anyway, Dr. Ray Hagin said that the true purpose of religion may be defined as a cultural, psycho-philosophical vehicle of spiritual and intellectual enslavement, which has as its end goal, it's a vehicle running all over your black ass, on your spirit and your mind. Religion is, running you back and forth and stuff. That's what it's doing, just running right on over you. And you keep forgiving it. That's all it is, a crutch for us. Y'all got to see this. I don't know. And sister, I was listening to her. She was teaching about Yahweh and Yahushua. You better get in there and see what's going on. Everybody better. I'm not being rude and stuff because Dr. Ray Hagin said he was a pastor for 20 years. And when he heard, he was on a business meeting and he heard some more brothers at another table. And one of them said that Horus was the first virgin-born deity. And Dr. Ray was ready to fight for white Jesus. He was. And they told him, calm down, brother, calm down. They told him and stuff, and it didn't really resonate with him, but it took like 3 years, he said. And he's seen a bookstore called Our Time. Yep, Our Time. And he went in there and he seen some books and stuff. And that's how he learned that all of this was a lie, y'all. You better start doing your research too. I'm just saying. You better start doing your research because you need to be concerned about your afterlife. And it's in that book right there, Red Summer. That man that revived the Ku Klux Klan in 1915, he said that he revived it because he had a spiritual vision of robed horsemen galloping in the sky. In the vision of the map of the shape of the United States, the map was shaped just like the United States. Where the book on and put it out. I'm going to show you a map of the United States. So, all of this right here, it ain't nothing but a game to them. Everything is. When they had our ancestors in the backyard as slaves, beating them with the Bible and stuff, and on Sundays, the only day they didn't have to go to the field. It was all a game to them. How we going to use this? Yeah, let's use this against them. And they did it. Shit, I don't know how they came up with that different stir fry. They did. They stole that and used it. It do have some truths in the Bible. It have done you some good. But it would have did you some great if you would have read between the lines of the Bible. Now, see, I ain't never read it. I stopped going to church as soon as I could. I sure did. honey. But let me finish this right here. The two end goals for religion, y'all. One for the people that created it, and the other one for the people that took it. Your black ass. The culture and racial superiority of the people who created it. It makes them superior. The people who created it. You see, you accept Jesus as white in a fight, anybody to prove that he black. But then you accept white Jesus. You accept his picture. You accept it. You know who it is. You embrace it. You won't say that ain't Jesus. You might. Yeah, he did have bronze skin and, kinky hair. But you accept that he's white. Yeah. So, yeah, you put them higher. Make them as the superior ones. You accept it. It's born, it's bred into you. Yeah. And the paralysis of analysis to those who believe in us. White folk don't even believe in Jesus no more. They've been telling you the Vatican, them people and stuff has said they worship Black Madonna and stuff, showed the pictures and everything. I hope I get me one at the thrift store. Yeah. Sure do. But yeah, they don't said it. They've been telling it. I guess that's who that was, or was it Russia? It was one of them other peoples that was saying, yeah, they don't even worship that shit. Y'all asses is just clinging to. No, and for all this work for us and stuff, just read between the lines. Now it's time for y'all to read the contradictions in the Bible. Yep, I guess y'all been memorizing it and studying the same old scriptures. I don't know. I didn't need it like that. I knew, yep, not to kill, steal, and destroy. My mama taught me that. Yep, and your grandmama taught you that and stuff. To share. I didn't really need it like that. So yeah, it didn't really resonate and stuff, and it was okay with me. But yeah, now it's time for y'all to start using it for what you need to use it for. Go back through your Bible. Look at them contradictions. A bastard can't get into heaven. You shouldn't be with them, and they shouldn't be with you. All of them things right there come out from under them. All of them contradictions, because you're supposed to be away from white America. We ain't supposed to still be among and under. And, we ain't supposed to be still around these people, point blank. So, yeah, and religion is doing it to y'all. So now you got a decision to make. You're going to have to start critiquing your religion stuff, asking some questions and stuff as far as this life and the afterlife. Because you're possibly calling on the wrong God. I don't call it God. I just call it cosmic energy, the ethers. I know some of us call him God, Yahushua, Yahweh, the creator. He Allah. He got a lot of names stuff, but ain't no beginning. He ain't got no beginning. We ain't got no beginning. The black woman, the black man don't have a beginning. The ethers do not have a beginning. I am the ether. You are the ethers. We are the ethers. We don't have a beginning. So there was no sound to give him a name, to give the ethers a name, her a name. It wasn't. So yeah, I'm okay with cosmic energy. I'm okay with the ethers. I can get it when y'all be, Yahushua and Yahweh and stuff and face don't know what she talking about. Now everybody else don't know what the hell they talking about. How you gonna say that's what his name was when it was the beginning that nobody knows? Do you know what had to happen before the cosmos, the ethers, decided to manifest itself as a black man and a black woman? Do you know everything that happened before then? How could you give it a name? And everybody got different names. I was listening to some sister, and she was like, everybody got different names for the creator, but one heaven and one hell. So So I think all of y'all need to just talk to each other and stuff, black people. Because you the one that's oppressed in life. And you the one gonna be oppressed in the afterlife, in heaven. Everybody else gonna be all right in heaven. Everybody else gonna be okay in heaven. White folks ain't harming nobody but your black ass. You know, I don't mean to put it like that, and you think I'm rude and stuff, but shit, I ain't got long to get this through to y'all. We don't. Hell, we don't know if a missile or an asteroid finna come to this motherfucker, or a meteor, or a missile or a meteor. We don't know what's finna happen. I think these tariffs and shit, I didn't even know nothing about tariffs. Honey, I was asleep for 43 years. So see, yeah, I'm okay with doing what I need to do to let my people know, hey, sound the alarm. Shit, everybody ain't ready for said it, but sound the motherfucking alarm. Because it's some shit going on out here, y'all. It's just madness, chaos. And it's just the first 100 days. Might be 101 now, I don't know. But we just got to change our thinking. Dr. Ray Hagins again, this right here. He started all his lectures off with this. Try to watch him tomorrow. If I don't come on tomorrow, I'm watching Dr. Ray Hagins if he got a new lecture for us and stuff to a new lesson. See, he said that your mind right here is in this. Whatever your religion is. Come find out, I think it was Dr. Anthony Browder too. It was so many of them that's saying now that all of the religions is keeping you right here. Yep. And that's what he said. The space inside this circle represents my realm of knowledge. All that I think I know about whatever I think I know is depicted right here within this circle. I must keep in mind that there is more to know than what is within the circumference of my awareness. So you got to think outside of that. Think outside the box? No, you got to think outside of that religion. You got to. All of that knowledge out there, they're keeping it off. And you walk. Now, why we going to question everything else, but don't question religion? And then black people, why the hell y'all want to go to heaven with white folks forever and ever and ever? I mean, I'm sure some of y'all knew. I know my jingers knew about all of this right here. But where I'm from and stuff, hell, most of us did not know about these things right here. No, we didn't get that knowledge and stuff like that. So, you know, yeah, it's time for us to just tell us the truth. We ain't got no more time and stuff. Like I said, we don't know, hell, if a meteor or a missile finna come over here. Because I think them tariffs and shit, it's saying to be a disagreement. It's saying to be a disagreement right now. But, honey, it can blow up any minute now. It can turn to something else any minute now. Because people is finna start feeling the pressure. Yep, sure will. And it's just because, hell, everybody voted for what they voted for. I don't know. It was just that same old rhetoric. As long as it hold down black people. And now look. So yeah, we just need to do for us. Just do for us, because ain't nobody really better for us. Ain't nobody really no benefit for us. We ain't got no business or benefit around nobody then, do we? Nope. So yeah, I just don't want you to feel bad about it, Black American stuff. When you start thinking about these things, don't feel bad about it. It's going to be a whole bunch of other people in heaven with white folks. We ain't got to be there and spend off forever and ever and ever with these folks. We should not. We do not have to. It's really fucked up and crazy as fuck that they would even brainwash us. And the pastors too. Yes, honey, the pastors too. Yeah, ooh, I don't mean to be disrespectful and stuff like that, but how dare the pastors try to sway us and brainwash us just so they can get their little, what is it called? The 501c, whatever it's called, them perks. And sway us and brainwash us to go to heaven with white folks, knowing all of these horrific things that we did not know. I mean, what are they teaching them in that bibliography school? You know, that they all go to become ordained and stuff. I mean, we read 100 Years of Lynching. We read racial violence in the United States, racial violence in Kentucky, 1865 to 1940. As soon as our ancestors stepped off that plantation, the chase was on. But why is everybody telling us and swaying us and brainwashing us, and they all on code with that same route, heaven? Don't that seem strange now? Especially in light of all that's being revealed, we all better change our minds. Start thinking for ourselves and stuff, because we keep letting other folks think for us and stuff, whether you know it or not. When you transcend over, you pass away and you in heaven and stuff, and you ain't got no pain, no hurt and stuff, and you feel free. You feel free, and and you all right forever and ever and ever and ever and evermore, for eternity, to the end of time. You'll be in heaven, and you'll think and feel, happy, free, no hurt, no hunger, no pain, no depression, no nothing, but you can't fly. You can't fly in heaven. They clip your wings. Hell, they branded your ass here. What you think they gonna do to you in heaven? Yeah, they gonna clip your wings so you can't fly. And you're gonna be trapped in heaven. Ain't no back gate, no back door to them pearly white gates. That's how you know it ain't even our vision. It's their vision. We'd have had a back gate, a back door to them gates. It's just one way in and one way out. And then this man done said that he had a spiritual vision of the Klansmen galloping in the sky. How did they pass this down to each other and stuff? This, I don't know. Is it instinctual? Is it in the spine? Oh, man, the brain it takes to figure this out. But our ancestors would have told us exactly what the dealio was if they knew. We would have still been up under these motherfucking people. They would have, that's just it, and that's all. They would have told us what they saw when they took them last breaths and they were being tortured and stuff. They would have told us. And it wasn't no sexual perversion. But let's read anyway. This right here is a property, and it's just a different view, a more close-up look up than the book They Were Her Property. And thank y'all for suggesting these books and stuff. We just gonna read, and we finna find out what's wrong with us, why we can't come together. Who's stopping us? What's been holding us back? What's been terrifying my people? Yeah, I'll tell us. I sure will. I ain't heard a lot of us. We don't need to be lied to no more. We don't need to be misled no more. Don't hold our hand top. Come on, we're going to go this way. Let's march around this way. Let's march around that way and stuff. No. We'll get there ourselves, together with us. And so, he just found out that the little boy is deaf, because the wife, she hate her husband now, the white man, the master, because he been sleeping with Sarah, the slave girl, and the other slave women and stuff. And she can't have kids, but he done had some kids by the other slave women and stuff. So this one little baby be coming there and stuff. And she's really hateful and full of rage and stuff. It would be comical if it wasn't our history, and it's true. And it's finna show us exactly how rageful she is, towards her husband and stuff. Because not only is she venging that rage on him, but she venging it on the little kids and stuff too, and Sarah and stuff, calling the little kids out of their name and being just an evil monster, But to be so peaceful today, Black people would never ever suspect. No, never that Miss Nancy would do those things. That little old sweet lady, you lying face. That little old sweet lady is trying to get into heaven. Read about now. They got a reason to be generous and kind and, and trustworthy and helpful. They got a reason to be that now. And that's us. Yeah. They done pretty much literally flipped the roles. But let's read. I rarely visit in town because I can't bear my mother's prying into the state of my marriage. Her constant insinuations about my failure to conceive a child. So yeah, she's really full of rage and stuff because she can't have no baby and stuff. He's sleeping with slave women and stuff and done had babies and stuff. And then the one little curly-haired, red-haired boy and stuff, he always want him. And a monster too. Yeah. For a few years, I didn't mind. I even felt a mild curiosity about it myself, as I explained to Mother. It wasn't for lack of trying. She cherished the hope that the fault was with my husband, and I foolishly did too until Walter was born. Then I knew the reason. In a way, Walter is the reason, but I could speak to no one about it. In the 5th year of my marriage, Mother and my husband consulted a doctor reputed to have helped other childless couples. And then there was no living with either of them until I agreed to be examined by this man. So I went to town and at the appointed time presented myself at the offices of Dr. Gabriel Sanchez. He was a small, swarthy man, his thin hair gray at the temples, his eyes slightly crossed. Perhaps one eye was only weak. I was required to undress behind the screen, wrapped in sheets by a nurse, then partially unwrapped. My modesty consulted to absurd lengths. The physical examination was extremely repugnant, but I did not object to it. I thought if I would submit, the doctor might find some physical reason for my failure to conceive, thereby freeing me of my detested conjugal duties, and also putting an end to my mother's tiresome queries. When it was over, a girl was sent in to help me dress, and I was escorted into the office where Dr. Sanchez awaited me. It was a surprisingly sunny room. The floor was covered with a rush mat. The chairs were in summer covers. The doctor motioned me into one facing his desk, which was really a table covered with papers, books, and oddly enough, a potted geranium. As I took my seat, I noticed a large wrought iron cage hanging from a chain near the open window in which 2 canaries hopped about. During our conversation, one of these birds sang plaintively. He began well. He told me that he was obliged to ask me a number of personal questions and that I could be assured my answers would not travel beyond the walls of his office. That in particular, he would not repeat anything I said to my mother or my husband. I found the darting, unfocused looks he gave me reassuring, and I made up my mind to tell him whatever he wanted to know. I wanted to enlist him on my side. He asked about my monthly discharges, were they regular, copious, clotted, or clear, attended by pain or swelling. He asked about my general health, my diet, how much riding I did, if I ever suffered from dizziness or fainting spells. As my health has always been excellent, I answered these questions readily. Nor could he have been much surprised at my responses. He listened closely, occasionally making a note in a leather-bound book he had open before him. Then he questioned me about my marriage, and in particular about my sexual congress with my husband. How often did our relations take place? Did I experience pain? Was there ever any bleeding afterward? He asked most delicately if I was certain that my husband ejaculated into my womb, a question which made me laugh, though I could not look at him and felt a hot flush rising in my cheeks. I apologize for being so indelicate, he said, but I have known cases of infertility caused by inadequate knowledge on the part of the husband. My husband knows very well how babies are made, I assure you, I said coldly. He fiddled with his pen and made no answer. I looked past him at the window where the bird was singing. There was a plantain tree just outside with a big bruised purple pod of unripe fruit hanging from it. One of the leaves lay across the windowsill like a fold of impossibly bright satin. I thought of my husband's embraces, so urgent and disagreeable. His kneading and sucking at my breast until the nipples hurt. His fingers probing between my legs, his harsh breath in my face. I see no physical reason why you can't have a child, the doctor said at last. No, I agreed. There's no physical reason. Do you want children, Mrs. Gaudette? I gave this question thought. I assumed I would have children. The question of whether I wanted them had never occurred to me. What sort of woman doesn't want children? Dr. Sanchez waited upon my answer, but he had a calm, patient air about him, as if he wouldn't mind waiting forever. Suppose I had married a man like him, I thought, a man who knew everything about women's bodies and was never impatient. I arrived at my answer. No, I said. He nodded. pressing his lips together. He had known all along. Do you fear the pain of childbirth? No, I said. Perhaps you feel anxiety about the disfigurement of pregnancy. That passes, surely, I said. There is some other reason, he concluded. Yes, I said. He produced a handkerchief, picked up a pair of eyeglasses that lay upon a stack of books on his desk, and began methodically rubbing the lenses. It is because I despise my husband, I said. He looked up at me briefly, but without surprise, then returned his attention to his eyeglasses. Unhappy marriages still produce children, he said. Perhaps they are not unhappy enough, I replied. Has it occurred to you that a child might be a comfort to you in your suffering? I am not in need of comforting, I said. He put the glasses down and gave me his full, unfocused attention. Did you love your husband when you married him? He asked. I hardly knew him. Ours was considered an adventurous match. And how did he earn your enmity? Well, let me think, I said. With the fact that the servant I brought to the marriage was born him a son, with the fact that the servant I brought to the marriage has borne him a son, and that this creature is allowed to run loose in the house like a wild animal. Would that be, in your view, sufficient cause for a wife to despise her husband? He shrugged. Mrs. Gaudette, there are many such cases. This cannot be unknown to you. That is precisely my grievance, I explained. That it is common. Why not sell the girl? No, he will only find another. And this one suits me. She hates him as much as I do. I saw a flicker of sympathy across his expression, but I didn't think it was for me. He was feeling pity for my husband, trapped between two furies. Well, he said, God willing, you will have a child. You're young and in good health. That's what I fear, I said. That's why I consented to see you. I want you to tell my husband that I cannot bear children, that it endangers my life, even to try. You want me to lie? I would never do that. Not to save my life, I said desperately. Your life is not in danger. Against my will, tears sprang to my eyes. I felt one of my headaches tightening across my forehead. I drew my handkerchief from my sleeve and pressed it against each eye. Dr. Sanchez was speaking, but I could hardly make out what he was saying through the awful red clamp of pain. It was something about a child, my child who would secure my husband's affections to me. Can't you at least give me something for these headaches? I blurted out, interrupting him. He paused mid-sentence as if to draw attention to my rudeness, but I no longer cared what he thought of me. And something to make me sleep, I added. Yes, he said softly. That much I can do for you. Now, see, it seemed to me like they trying to sway us to have sympathy for this woman. And I know we read in here, it said it was an unapologetic view. Well, I guess it still is just the beginning. Maybe it's just giving us a little background and stuff. But yeah, we don't forgive nothing that's done happened to our ancestors here. I don't forgive nothing. While we were at dinner, a boy arrived with a note from Dr. Landry saying there was a cholera at Overton, and he could not come to us until supper. You must tell him our case is not urgent, I said. He will be exhausted if he has to make the trip back there before morning. Why should he? My husband said. He can stay here and have a decent night's sleep instead of being up 100 times in the night to bleed hysterical Negroes. You wouldn't say so if they were your own Negroes, I observed. If they were my Negroes, I'd move the quarter up from the swamp they're in at Overton, and there would be no cholera, as there is none here. This is one of his favorite pastimes, pointing out that everyone's troubles are their own fault, and if the whole world would only submit to his excellent management, it would be an earthly paradise. It bores me past endurance. I pushed my plate away and got up from the table. I must speak to Delphine about supper, I said. As I went out, Sarah was coming in with a plate of rice cakes. She had a smirk on her face, pleased with herself, I thought, because Walter was going to get the doctor's attention. I went through the house, out the back door, across the yard, and in at the kitchen. Delphine had her back to me, rolling out some dough at the table. The fire was up, the room stifling. I threw myself down in a chair, startling her momentarily. It's hell in here, I said. How can you stand it? Hell, she ain't got no choice. What she thought? How can you stand it? Can't cook without a fire, she said, continuing her rolling. Give me a glass of water before I faint. She wiped her hands on her apron and went to the pump. I seldom go into the kitchen, but whenever I do, in spite of the heat, I feel more at ease than in my own room. Delphine is the only person in this house I trust at all. She reminds me of Peek, Peek, my mother's cook. They are both small, very dark, lively, jittery, but sensible at bottom. She brought me the water glass, wiping the rim with her apron. There's flour on the glass, she said. I don't care, I said, gulping it down. She took up her pen again. The doctor's coming to supper tonight, I said. It's too hot to eat, but he probably will. He's a big man. Doctor got a good appetite, she agreed. Get a ham from the smokehouse, I said. Just serve it cold. Cold potatoes dressed with vinegar, biscuits, pickled peaches, and applesauce. What pie are you making? Her they ain't cooked nothing, didn't take care of nobody. Rubber. That's so plain, I said. I can mix in some strawberries. All right, I said. Serve some whipped cream with it. It will have to do. I went through my keys. Here's the smokehouse key, I said, landing on the end of the table. Send it back with Sarah when you're done. Yes, missus, she said. I thought I would get up to go, but I felt so languid I didn't move. I looked out the door at the yard. A chicken walked by. Everything felt peaceful. Then I recalled why. Where's Walter? I said. Out running around, she said. Is that safe? Rose looked after him, she said. It's not him I'm worried about, it's the property. Delphine draped her dough over the pie pan and turned to look into the pot on the hearth. Make sure he's inside by supper, I said. The doctor's going to examine him. Yes, missus, she said. I got up and stretched, then wandered out into the yard. I couldn't take the hot kitchen another minute. I was thinking about the man, but I wasn't going to say nothing to Delphine about it. Perhaps he was her lover. I walked out to the oak where I had seen him and looked among the roots for any shoe prints or anything he might have dropped, but there was nothing. I stood exactly where I thought he had stood and looked up at the house. I could see my bedroom window. One curtain was fluttering half outside in the breeze, and my husband's window as well. When I looked at the kitchen yard, I could see right into the open door. By turning a little, I could see the top of the mill and the dirt road running to the quarter. Quite an excellent command post. I looked back at my own window. The curtain seemed to be moving against something heavy. Then they parted and Sarah appeared, holding her baby. She saw me at once, but she didn't start or turn away. She just stood there, her dress half open, looking down at me coolly. She's a nervous creature, I thought. There really is something inhuman about her. After a few moments, I grew weary of looking at her and went back into the house. Remember that man? She looked out the window and she seen that man, that black man, standing under that oak tree. He might have been a ghost. Yeah, he might have been a spirit. I hope he was. Yeah, spirit come through right now. Dr. Landry is a walking newspaper. He knows everything that's happening from St. Francisville to Point Alahatchee. All through supper, he dispensed interesting gossip, yet he still managed to eat nearly half a ham. The cholera at Overton is confined to the quarters. Of 63 taken, 16 have died. It is worse in New Orleans, and there's yellow fever there as well. The hospital is full, the hotel's empty. Mrs. Pemberley, near Clinton, has scarlet fever and is so weak the doctors does not expect her to live. The lawsuit her daughter-in-law brought against her son has proved successful, and she anticipates the loss of half her property. 2 Negroes have drowned in False River. They had passes to visit their families, and seeing a skiff in the weeds, must have thought to arrive with a fish dinner, but the boat proved leaky, and they turned dinner for the fishes. 2 runaways were captured at St. Francisville, walking around drunk in broad daylight. There was a fire at Mr. Winthrop's gin at Greenwood, set by his own Negroes. One of the culprits informed on the others and escaped beating. The fire consumed 80 bales of cotton as well. There are so many rumors of planned uprisings in Bayou Sarah that the authorities have banned all church meetings of any kind, as it seems one of the preachers may be responsible for inciting the Negroes. Our story has it that there are 300 runaways. One story has it that there are 300 runaways hidden in the low country near there, and that they plan to march down the river road, killing every white person they find. They will come right past here, my husband exclaimed on hearing this. That they would, Dr. Landry agreed, if the rumors are true. I will inform my meeting, my husband said, solemn and pompous as an ass. This is how rumors turn into dead Negroes. After supper, Dr. Landry agreed to examine Walter, who was described as a boy we have here. My husband expressed the hope that some use might be made of the child as a servant, which was entirely news to me. My heart raced with anger. Then I imagined Walter pitching dishes out the window and dumping mashed potatoes on the carpet, a thought I found so amusing it calmed me down. Her ass ain't got to clean. They agreed the examination would take place in my husband's office, and Sarah was dispatched to bring the creature there. That's what she called the baby, the little boy, because her husband, the master, is the daddy. I made my excuses to the gentleman and said good night to the doctor at the dining room door. But instead of going to my room, I went back to the table. After a few minutes, Sarah came in to clear up. She was doubtless vexed about me still sitting there. Pour me a glass of that port the gentleman found so edifying, I said, and she did. Then I sat quietly for some time, drinking the port and thinking over the news the doctor had brought us. What interested me the most was the success of Sally Pemberley's lawsuit against her husband. She divorced him some years ago because he was so cruel. Even the servants pitied her. He then ran up large gambling debts, bankrupting himself as well as his family. Sally sued to have her marriage portion, which was considerable, exempted from his creditors, and restored to her. By some miracle, she has won. Now she has her own income, and she is free of her detestable husband. Fortunate woman. I woke up with a start, thinking someone was standing next to my bed, but there was no one there. Had I heard a sound? The room was black. I could make out the curtains at the window, but little else. At once I remembered the man. I pulled back the net and sat on the edge of the bed, groggy but determined, shaking my head to clear it. Then I went to the window. It was like looking into the ink well. I could make out the shape of the oak, but only its texture, like black velvet against black silk. Was there something among the roots? I dropped down to my knees as I thought my white shift, my light hair, made me visible, and gazed long and hard. Still, my eyes failed to penetrate the darkness. Did something move there near the house? Listen, I told myself, and I closed my eyes, listening as what had seemed like silence unraveled into different sounds. The buzz of insects, the clock in the hall, something scratching in the wall, the rustling of leaves and branches. And then, just beyond my own heartbeat, not loud or not near or loud, but sudden and unmistakable, the sound of a rifle shot. My eyes flew open. I jumped up and ran from the bedroom door. But I tripped over a footstool and fell headlong into the carpet, across the carpet. As I got to my feet, I heard a shout from outside, then my husband's voice cursing. I opened my bedroom door just as his door was open. A lamp sputtered. Someone came into the hall. It was Sarah. I stepped behind the door, laying my cheek against the wood, listening as she hurried toward the landing. Another door opened, the doctor's. He spoke to her. She answered, but I couldn't make out what they said. There was more light, the heavy sound of my husband's boots, then his voice. They've set the mill on fire, he said. And Dr. Landry replied, I'll dress and join you. My husband was halfway down the stairs. Stay in your bed, he called back. There are hands enough. How could the mill be on fire? I'd just been looking toward it. I felt my way to my dresser, lit the lamp, and went to the window. It was true. There were no flames, but there was a deep red glow to the blackness in that direction. I heard shouts downstairs. My husband appeared on the lawn, running, and from the quarter, 2 men bearing torches came running to meet him. The doctor's door opened again. His footsteps faded as he hurried downstairs. After a few moments, he too appeared below me, walking briskly toward the fire. My heart smote me. It was this way that night. The sounds of doors opening and closing, the clatter of boots on the stairs, but it was different too. It was clear and cold. When I woke up and looked out my window, I could see the flames and smoke billowing up above the trees. I never did see Father leave the house, and I never did see him again. I heard Mother's voice, then a man's voice I didn't recognize, more doors closing, someone riding away. I leaped from my bed and ran into the hall, calling for Mother, but she didn't answer. I found her in the parlor with our housemaid, Celeste. They had only one lamp lit between them, and the room was cold. Mother's crochet hook glinted amid the lace. She was frantically working. Celeste was darning a sock. I wanted to throw myself in my mother's lap, but I knew she would scold me. What is happening? I said. Mother looked up hollow-eyed, her mouth in a grim line, shadows from the lamp playing over her cheeks. She's frightened, I thought. She's more frightened than I am. They have murdered him, she said. Father, I cried and ran to the door. Manny, Mother shouted, jumping to her feet. Don't go out there. She came to me and took me in her arms, and I wept. I couldn't understand what had happened. The driver has gone for your uncle, Mother said, and we must stay inside until he comes. That night I slept in Mother's bed. In the morning she refused to get up, refused to eat, sobbed, and muttered wild accusations by turns. She's mad with grief, Celeste said. Late in the afternoon, my uncle arrived and I was allowed to leave the house. Stay away from the quarter, he said, and stay away from the gin. All night I wanted to run, and as soon as I was outside, I did run, as hard and fast as I could across the lawn and down the road to the river landing. I wanted to keep running forever, but I came to the end of the dock. The water swirled at my feet and the wind lifted my hair. No streamer was in sight. I raised my arms above my head and called out, Father, Father, in a transport of suffering. But of course, there was no answer. Father was gone. What happened then? A blackness suffused my memory. I was sick for some time. But before that, I turned back and saw 2 Negro boys standing at the edge of the dock, watching me curiously. They were dressed in rags, their feet bare. One wore a rough jacket made of quilted sacking. The other had fashioned a cape from what looked like a scrap of horse blanket, which he held tight around his thin shoulders. I judged them to be 12 or 13 years old, my age, though I was several inches taller than they were. I wasn't afraid of them. I didn't think I had seen them before. I approached the boys. When I was close, the taller of them said, Your pappy is dead. I know it, I said. He killed in the fire, the other said. A big beam fall on him. Did you see it? I asked. Were you there? The taller boy squatted down on the grass, rubbing his hands together for warmth. My auntie said your pappy set that fire himself and shot himself in the head. So he dead already when the beam came down on him. You're a liar, I said. You better not be biting me. You're a liar, I said. That's what my auntie say, he replied, keeping his eyes on his friend, who nodded his head in agreement. It was a lie, of course. It was not possible that Father would do such a thing. It was an outrage that they should seek me out to tell me this lie, which they had made up. just to hurt me. My sadness and confusion turned to rage. I wanted to kill the boys, and they seemed to know they should be afraid of me. For when I said, "You better run," they took off like scared rabbits and didn't stop until they were out of sight behind the house. I stood on the dock, shaking with fury. It started to rain, but I couldn't move. I just stood there until I was soaked through and my teeth were chattering, and I stood there until it was getting dark and Celeste came out and found me. By the time we got back to the house, I was delirious with fever. I never told anyone this lie the boys told me. Perhaps it never happened, and I only dreamed it when I was sick. The doctor and my uncle agreed that Father's death was an accident. Mother always said he'd been murdered. They never did find out how the fire started. Lies, I thought, lies without end. We lived on them, all of us, all the time. The image of Sarah as I had seen her leaving my husband's room filled my head, banishing these unendurable recollections. Her hair was all undone, her eyes bright. She was wearing a loose dressing gown I'd never seen before and a dark mantle pulled over it. I had only the quickest look at her in the lamplight, but I'd seen a great deal, and so had the doctor. I didn't doubt when he opened his door and spoke to her. What had he said? My head began to hammer. The room was so hot I was suffocating. I staggered to the dresser and poured out a glass of water, drank half of it, then poured the rest down the front of my shift. It was as if someone had slapped me. In the distance, I could hear shouting, the tolling of the bell. I gripped the table and hung my head forward, trembling from head to foot. A feeling of dread crept over me as I realized that I was laughing, crazy as fuck. All night I prayed myself a widow. But to prove there is no supreme being who hears our prayers, in the morning, Sarah came to my door with the message that my husband had gone to his brother's house and would not return until dinner. He wants to borrow more money, I thought, and he will be in a foul humor when he returns. Has the doctor gone as well? I asked. Yes, missus, she said. Then I won't go down. Just bring me bread and coffee and a little Creole cheese. Yes, missus, she said again and went out. I fell back among the pillows and closed my eyes against the racket of my thoughts. Through it, I could hear the same scratching in the wall I noticed last night. A mouse or a squirrel doing no end of damage. Good, I thought. Eat a little every day until it all falls down around our ears. I heard Sarah on the stairs and roused myself. I was washing my face at the stand when she came in with the tray. Is the meal burned to the ground? I asked, bathing my face with my hands. She put the tray on the side table and stood with her back to me. I don't know, she said. I patted my face with the hand towel, studying her back. Did she know I saw her last night leaving his room? I hate it when you pretend to be stupid, I said. This appealed to her vanity, which is immense. They put it out, she said. Only the roof was half burned, and the rest fell in from the water. Too bad, I said, leaving her to guess if I had hoped for more or less in our ruin. I sat at the dressing table, touching the dark circles underneath my eyes, while she poured out the coffee and brought it to me. As she leaned across me to place the brimming cup in the only space clear of bottles or pens, her reflection obscured my own. Her eyes were lowered, her hands steady, a single line of concentration on her brow, all that gave evidence of any feeling about what she was doing. A very different look from the one I'd seen in the night as she rushed from my husband's bedroom. A flush of anger rose in me, right up in my throat, so that I gasped for air. In panic, I raised my hand, and as I did, I knocked her arm. The cup tipped out of the saucer, splattering coffee across the dresser. I leaped away to keep it from running onto my gown. Why are you so clumsy? I exclaimed. Sarah grabbed the hand towel and began mopping up the mess. I went to the window. It was already hot. The sky was the color of lead. I can't stand much more, I said. She did that and then turned around and blamed it on Sarah. According to my husband, the conflagration at the mill only proves that he is a flawless manager, far more intelligent and efficient than my father, who might be alive today if he'd had the benefit of his son-in-law's advice. The fire was started by a man who had been whipped for being too slow in the field. He told two of his fellows of his plan, and they informed Cato, the driver, who made it his business to know at every moment the whereabouts of the malcontent, Malcontent. Late last night, when Cato learned the plotter had not been seen in the quarter since supper, he followed the procedure my husband had given him. He ran to Mr. Sutter's house and bid him come to the mill at once. He then dispatched 2 men to alert my husband and another to ring the bell, summoning all hands to the scene. The culprit had managed to pull a few bales of hay inside the mill, douse them with kerosene, and light the blaze. But as he came out the door, Mr. Sutter ran up with his rifle and shot him. He is now in shackles awaiting justice. The bucket line, swiftly organized, proceeded to extinguish the flames. The roof was not a great loss, my husband maintains, as it had needed repairs. Indeed, the lumber is already cut. Then everything is as it should be, I observed. I wish that were true, he said, with a glance at Sarah that meant he could not convey some news of great import before a witness. This irritated me. Come to my office when you have finished eating, he said seriously. I must speak to you in private. As you wish, I said. When he was gone, I dawdled over my coffee. Sarah cleared his place and went out, leaving me alone. The room was quiet, but not for long. No sooner had I taken a deep breath than I blew it out in a huff at the grotesque babbling and clatter just beyond the doors. It was Walter, set loose on the lawn. There's never a moment's peace in this house, I thought. Then I got up and went to hear my husband's report from the outside world. As soon as I was inside his office, he bade me close the door. He was in an agitated state, unable to sit down. He insisted that I be seated, as I would not be able to stand before the ghastly news he had to relate. I was weary from lack of sleep and in no mood for his self-important fantasies. But there was something odd about him, something new that interested me. Of course, he looked haggard. He spent the night fighting the fire and the morning on horseback, but it wasn't fatigue that had put such hectic color in his cheeks and a queer darting light in his eye. I took my chair willingly enough and gave my attention to his story. Near dawn, when he was returning to the house, having extinguished the fire and much relieved that it had not altered his fortunes, a boy he recognized as belonging to his brother Charles rode up with urgent summons. He was entreated to come at once to Charles' plantation, Chatterley, and to bring Dr. Landry if he was still on our property. My husband and the doctor rode out together, arriving in time to find the family at breakfast, but an anxious and harried meal it was. Maybelle, my sister-in-law, was prostrate from terror and exhaustion. Their daughters were packing to leave for the safety of New Orleans. Their son Edmund, a boy of 15, had persuaded his father to let him stay. The day before, 3 runaways had broken into the larder at Chatterley. They had canvas sacks, which they filled with whatever they could carry. The cooks, spying them from the kitchen window, raised the alarm. Charles happened to be in the yard speaking to the farrier. He took up his pistol and came running, arriving in time to wound one of the men, though not seriously enough to prevent their escape. They made for the woods, where in spite of heated pursuit by hounds and horses, they were not to be found. It was as if the forest had swallowed them up. Late last night, at perhaps the very hour our meal went up in flames, My husband assumed his most ponderous tone to remind me of this coincidence. A stable boy walking back to the quarter at Chatterley was assaulted by two of these men brandishing machetes. They beat him. Then hacked off both his arms and legs. Whew. Leaving him to die. Tell your master we done this because he shot one of our men, they told him. The unfortunate boy lived only long enough to deliver this message to the overseer. What are we to do, my husband concluded? Open our larders to every runaway who is tired of working so that those who are faithful will not be murdered? What can they possibly imagine will be the result of such unconscionable savagery? I made no response. Indeed, the story had shocked me, and I found myself calculating the amount of time it would take a man to walk from my brother-in-law's plantation to this one. Suppose it had been Edmund, my husband speculated. This is what has put poor Maybelle under the doctor's care. What will you do? I asked. Of course, we'll raise a patrol and apprehend them, he said. It's damn bad timing. Between hauling timber and the mill repairs, I'm short-handed, but I've got no choice. But if the dogs fail to find them before, he stopped before me, stroking his mustache. His eyes narrowed. He was trying to decide whether to tell me something more. They found a structure in a tree, a house of sorts, with all sorts of comforts, a washstand, a mattress, a tin of tobacco. There was even a deck of cards. Now, see, I was thinking to myself when they couldn't find them, when they got away in the forest, I was thinking to myself they had gutted out some trees. And when they running and stuff, just climb up in the trees and stuff and whatever and just stuff it at the bottom right there to cover up the smells from the hounds and stuff. Yeah, I sure was thinking that. But he said, yeah, they found a structure in a tree, a house of sorts, with all sorts of comforts, a washstand, a mattress, a tin of tobacco. There was even a deck of cards. Then they have been there for some time. The sheriff had estimated that there may be as many as 100. Surely that is an exaggerated figure, I exclaimed. He left off wearing his mustache and looked at me thoughtfully. We can only hope you are right, he said. In spite of the elaborate secrecy with which the planters revealed their scheme to avenge this crime at Chatterley, there can be little doubt that the Negroes there will know everything about it before they ride out, and that these runaways will be informed. Else, why would they have taken such a risk and warned the very people they planned to rob of their intention to rob them? My husband marvels at their savagery. I am more astounded by their boldness. It must be their intention to lure their enemies into their neighborhood, where they have somehow learned to survive, even to flourish, and then to cut them down. The woods abutting Chatterley are on the low, swampy ground. The undergrowth is impenetrable, full of snakes, thorn bushes, and all manner of stinging insects. Even with oxen, it is difficult to haul out much timber, as Charles never stops pointing out, though it's much the same here. In such a place, a man on horseback must be an easy target for a man who has contrived to live in a tree. These were my thoughts in the afternoon as I sat in my room at my sewing. They filled me with trepidation, for we are outnumbered here, as everywhere along the river. And when the planters band together on a hunt, their houses and relations are left undefended. But there were also the thin, scarcely voiced hope that my husband might go out and never return. That was her hope, that he would go out and never return. I had set Sarah to ripping an old gown for quilting, and the repetitive whine of the tearing silk punctuated my musings. Her baby made small, congested sounds in its crate. I could see his dark hand moving against the slats. She sat with her back to it, methodically tearing the cloth, absorbed in the task, or so it seemed. I wonder how much she knew about my husband's urgent errand. Did she share my timid wish that it might put her master in danger? I could not ask this question, yet I had a desire to hear her speak. What did the doctor say about Walter? I said. She glanced up at me, then back to her work, her expression as blank as a death mask. He don't hear. Did he make any recommendations for treatment? All master say is he don't hear. Does that one hear? I asked, gesturing to the baby. For answer, Sarah laid the cloth in her lap, turned toward the creature, and clapped her palms together, making a sharp crack like a shot. The baby's hand flew up above the top of the box, and it let out a soft cry of surprise. Sarah turned back to her work, her mouth set in an annoying smirk. Why not just answer me? I protested. She had come to the hem of the gown, which she pulled free of the skirt in one long shriek. Later, when my husband came upstairs, I heard his footsteps stop at my door. He had drunk wine and brandy at supper, as he often does when the prospect of murdering Negroes is before him. I lay still, staring at the doorknob, but it did not turn, and presently he went on to his own room. When Walter was born, I lost what little desire I had for my husband. I knew he was driven to my bed because he feared he had fathered the only son he would ever have. I was nearly blind with resentment and could only get through the ordeal of our conjugal encounters by recourse to a steadily waning sense of duty. I have no doubt my repugnance showed. I was too proud to beg for my freedom, my husband too absorbed in his own passion to notice my suffering. My revulsion turned to resistance, and I discovered that this inflamed him further, that it could be useful as a means of bringing the unpleasant process to a speedy conclusion. And so I practiced a mock resistance. Afterwards, I wept with frustration while my panting husband collapsed at my side. Don't cry, he said, patting my shoulder as he drifted off to sleep. We will have a child. I'm sure of it. It was not long after my consultation with Dr. Sanchez that I found the means to make my husband quit my bed. Indeed, Dr. Sanchez unwillingly provided it. It was the sleeping tincture. I found that if I drank 2 glasses of port at supper and took 2 spoons of this excellent medicine before getting into bed, I was so perfectly indifferent to my husband that I could endure his embraces without feeling anything at all. I offered neither encouragement nor resistance. I was there and not there at the same time. This frustrated him beyond endurance. He pushed and pulled at me, repeated my name, all to no avail. One night, after only a few weeks of this campaign, he pulled me up roughly by my arms and slapped me hard across the face. I smiled and fell back on the pillow, tasting blood. I brought my fingers to my lips, smearing a little of the blood across my cheek. Abruptly, he pulled away from me and sat on the edge of the bed, rubbing his face between his hands. Manning, he said, what are you doing? Are you finished already? I asked agreeably. I've not much interest in making love to a corpse, he said. I laughed. How wonderful that he would call what we were doing making love. How amusing that he drew the line at a corpse. If I am dead, I said, it is because you have killed me. He turned to look at me. To my surprise, there were tears standing in his eyes. The doctor is right, he said. You are unbalanced. Is that his diagnosis? I said. He turned away, bending to the floor to pull on his trousers. Unbalanced, I thought. So that was the name they had for a woman who could not pretend a villain was as good as a decent man. I closed my eyes and opened them again, against a wave of nausea. The doctor was right. The balance was not perfect. A little less poured in the mix, and maybe a few more drops of the tincture. I don't care, I said as my husband took up his boots and went to the door. He looked back at me confounded. I don't care what you do, I said. I don't care what you think. I just want you to leave me alone. So be it, he said, and went out. Well, I want to stop right there because Valerie Martin, I don't know if we'll see about this book. I don't know if we're gonna really agree with her and stuff. She seems to have a softness to the lady in this book, Manning, the white lady in this book, the mistress, the missus in this book right here. But we're gonna finish the book just so we can see on a more personal level or familiar with the family, the master and the wife. So we can at least get an idea how that family was and stuff, because she's full of rage and stuff. And some of them white women was just downright brutal. What movie was that was on Tubi TV? What was it? 12 Years a Slave. Remember that movie, Solomon North? 12 Years a Slave, and how that lady was really mean to the black lady that he was sleeping with and stuff, the slave girl. Yes. This is our history. And I thank you so much, everybody, but I'm so sleepy. Yes, we sure have always been good on our own. Yes, that's right. Yep, it's time for us to read and study our own stories and stuff. And it ain't nothing I want to look at on TV, go nowhere, be with nobody, nothing. If we ain't talking about us, our people, what's going on, how we got some solutions. Do you got some solutions going on and stuff? Yep, that's all I'm really concerned about at this point and stuff. Can you read? Can you read? Is you reading to them babies? We need to teach them something. Start learning, teaching them how to become self-sufficient. Because we don't know how this going to end up, how this going to go. And them babies going to need to do more than put some noodles in the microwave. They're going to need to know more than to put some damn noodles in. Somebody might need to sew up some socks. Start teaching them how to sew. With just a needle and thread if it comes down to it. You know, they might have to get up and make some pancakes. You ain't got nothing but some flour, you know, to make you some pancakes. And maybe they got to do that right there. So I'm just saying, you know, we're going to have to come up with our own solutions and stuff to get through this. And like I've been saying, tell them the truth. We got some smart babies. Tell them the truth. Everybody know about slavery. And you ain't got to get down to, you know, the savage of it and stuff. You don't have to do that and stuff, but you can let it know that we as a people, we ain't safe like we thought we were. And now we're going to have to learn how to build us up and take care of us the best way we can. Just let them know. We ain't finna have the foods we used to have and stuff. We ain't going to have meat and stuff like we used to having meat and stuff, which is a good thing. And go on and let your babies know about that meat and stuff, honey. Tell them they putting steroids in it. They putting meat glue in it and stuff. And you don't even know if that's chicken you eat. Go on and let them know. They can handle this. They stronger than our asses is. And you know, for a little meat taste, get you some of them bouillon cubes. Don't it taste like pork and chicken and beef? Yeah, get you some of them right there. And throw a little bit on inside your mashed potatoes or whatever. Sprinkle some, you know, on the rest of the food and stuff. And they tasting the meat. I'm just saying, you know, yeah, it's another solution. But, you know, yeah, we'll work it out and stuff. But I love y'all. And, yeah, it's real early. But I'm so sleepy. I'm going to go get me some rest. And I hope I do come on tomorrow so we can finish more dirty little secrets. But I need a kennel. I need a dog kennel right now. Because I can't. Y'all see that hair? I need an air purifier, too. I can't have Davis getting into my garden and stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to go try to find me a big kennel, a dog kennel. And that's going to be his home when I'm not here and stuff. And when I can't keep an eye on him because he jumping up on counters and stuff. And we don't do that in our home. We don't do that in our house. Now, at that time, when we normalize these robot dogs and all that bullshit, and it's normalized, And real dogs and cats finna stand up and talk to us, black people. And them canines, not the canines, but them breeds that they were using to attack black people and stuff. What were they called? German shepherds and stuff, I think. And they do use them for police dogs, I think now. I don't know, but them dogs right there, them dogs gonna tell y'all some history they self. That they dog sisters, they elderlies, you know, they ancestors in the dog world and stuff. They had mamas and all that stuff that they passed down to them about us and stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be like, wow, for real. It's really, you know, a whole new era has opened up. Yeah, so don't doubt nothing. We can't doubt nothing and act like, oh, that don't even make no sense. That ain't gonna happen. Hell, Neely Fuller said it 30 years ago. He said in 30 years, the black man gonna be in dresses. So, you know, yeah, I don't doubt nothing and stuff. So don't, honey. Yeah, I'm here to think and figure this out for my people and stuff. And even if it is wrong, you better thank your ancestors. Because we don't want none of this to actually be. But if it is, we need to be prepared on some fronts. That's all I'm saying and stuff. But I love y'all, and I will see you tomorrow if the ancestors willing. I love you to life. Let's process this, you know, as we go and stuff every night. We have to process this because it's really graphic. It's really graphic, you know, and it'll stay with you. And we don't want to be bitter, you know, when we out in the daytime and stuff, you know, and white folks rub us the wrong way or yeah, just have that vibe about them and stuff. You know, we don't want to snap off and stuff because we still got all of this inside of us. We trying to heal this trauma. We trying to heal this trauma. We learn from it, process it, and go ahead and put it to the side and stuff because there's nothing you can do. There's nothing we can do about this now. No, there's nothing we can do about this now. Vengeance is the ancestors. They are the ones, the only ones that can get justice for them for this right here. Vengeance belongs to the ancestors. Ain't nothing we can do. What we supposed to do is just get the hell out the way. Get away from white America. Leave them alone, you know, and other people too. Focus on us. That's what we're supposed to do. You know, collectively. We're supposed to be focusing on us, our people, our children, our future, our lineage. We need to live on, y'all. You know, I'm not saying be mean and hateful to other people and stuff, you know. We ain't like those who caused the injury. And we ain't got to ignore somebody that's done fell in the road and finna get their head ran over because they intoxicated or whatever the case may be. Now, we will at least pull you out of the road and set you up on that fence right there. But, you know, that's because we not like the ones that caused this injury to us. We're not like that. We got to get ourselves back how we are. We're nurturing. You know, we're protectors, providers. And we need to do that for our family, for our people now. Yeah, but I love y'all. Peace and power to the people because we sure need it. Don't nobody else need it. We need it.